Welcome to another Carl Gosling 10-minute VR review. Today we're going to be looking at Budget Cuts 2. A couple of you viewers out there asked me if I've played this yet, and if I have, could I do a review for you? So I have played it, I've spent a few hours in it, so here's my 10-minute review. Now, if you've played the first one, you're pretty much in for more of the same. They've made a few adjustments, there's a couple of extra weapons now, but essentially if you played the first game, this is very much the same as that. It's a little bit more open world, you're outside, you're on trains, you're out in open areas, whereas before you were a bit more constrained. So that's also changed a little bit. But essentially the gameplay mechanics are still the same. The graphics are also pretty much the same. And this is probably one of the negatives about the game, I would say. With the likes of things like Stormland, Zero Caliber, Asgard's Wrath, all amazing graphics, really showing what you can do in VR. And then you see something like Budget Cuts. They've done it in a particular style, and perhaps it's intended to be that way. But being a sequel, you like to see improvements over the first iteration of a game, and visually, it's the same. It looks exactly the same. At least to my eyes, it looks exactly the same. It's perhaps something I'd expect the visuals of this quality perhaps to be found on something on the Oculus Quest rather than on a PC VR headset, if you know what I mean. And that's a good shout, because this will work well for Quest owners. I actually don't know if they're doing a Quest release. I haven't checked, but they could do, because visually it's not very demanding. Graphics wise, nothing stand out here, nothing terribly impressive. It's functional, they represent what they're designed to represent, and if you're used to the first one, you know exactly what you're getting, but it's nothing stupendously impressive. You're not going to put your headset on and go, wow, this is amazing, like you do with Stormland or some of the other bigger titles. The audio side of things, again, it's much the same as the first one. It's okay. There's nothing again that stands out as being particularly impressive. It does what it needs to do. There's not really much to say about that, really. And then really the gameplay is what all games come down to. Is the game fun to play? Are you going to enjoy spending your time in there? Now, this game is all about, if you haven't played the first one, I'll just describe it to you a little bit. This one's all about stealth. This is a one-hit, one-kill scenario, and not for the enemies as such, but for you, which makes the game really, really hard. Now, I actually particularly like difficult games. The fact that if you get shot once, you're dead, to me is a positive, because it means you calculate every move very carefully. You think about what you're doing. You don't just run in, balls deep and hope for the best. You're very cautious before you stick your head around a corner and have a look, because you don't want to get shot. So I particularly like the fact that it's difficult, and I've probably never died so often in a VR game as I have in Budget Cuts 2. But again, for me, this is a real positive, and I like it. All too often these days, games are too easy, and I don't like that personally. That's it. It's complete stealth. You want to sneak around, you want to take out the other robots, without being seen, without alerting their attention if you can help it. And you've got a variety of weapons, to do that with. You can even use things like cups. You can pick up a cup and you can knock them out with a cup if you need to. So that's good. I do like that. I like the stealth element. I like the difficulty level. What I don't like so much is the way you move around. There's no smooth locomotion. Again, if you played the first one, you'll know how this works. There's no smooth locomotion. There is only a teleport option. Now, the teleport option isn't too bad, but again, 2019 going into 2020, I'd like to see every game at least giving you a smooth locomotion option for those of us that would like it. Because it's so easy to die, if you end up in a situation where you need to quickly get out of there, with smooth locomotion, you can just point your thumbstick and you'll go. If you're in a big play space, you can certainly physically run around and get out of the way within the limitations of how long our VR cables are, and try not to trip over them or whatnot. But smooth locomotion would make things much easier, because with the way the teleport works in Budget Cuts and Budget Cuts 2, is you get to have a sneak peek of where you're about to teleport to. So you depress the stick, you point it where you want to go, and it throws this little ball, I suppose you might want to call it, and where that lands, you then get this circle open up and you can look ahead of time from where you currently are, where you're going to teleport to. Now again, this is a useful stealth tactic because you can look around the corner and see if there's enemies there before you get there. So it's useful, but that's the only way you can move around. So you fire a little ball, it lands, you see a preview, and then you press the button again to confirm that you want to teleport there. Now that is a very slow method of getting around. And as I said a minute ago, if you're in a rush and need to get out of somewhere really quickly because you've gone in somewhere perhaps you shouldn't have done without looking, and there's guys there wanting to shoot you, you've got to press the button, aim it, wait for the circle to press the button again, and by this time someone shot you and you're dead. So smooth locomotion would definitely be a preference for me, given the choice. Having the ability to fire this little ball and preview where you're going is useful, but it should be an option rather than the default. Even just a normal teleport, like in Robo Recall, where you just point and appear, point and appear, point and appear, that's nice and quick. So even if they just did that, and then if you wanted to use the little sneak peek window, you press something else in addition to your normal teleport, that would be, or maybe you press and hold, and then when you release, you teleport. So you can just go press, release, and teleport quickly. And if you want to have a sneak peek, you press, have a little look around, and then release. That would be quicker as well. But the way it seems to work, unless I'm missing something here, the way that you do it is you fire your little projectile, it lands, the circle appears, you look around, then you press again to confirm you want to go there. So for me, I find that a little clunky and a little laborious, to navigate your way around the play area. I'd rather it wasn't like that. But aside from that, if you enjoyed the first game, you're definitely going to enjoy this one because it's much of the same, it's slightly more refined. If you haven't played the first game, then, and you like the sound of what it is, the stealth element to it, the difficulty being high, then yeah, perhaps give it a go. For me, a little bit too difficult, not too difficult, a little bit too laborious trying to move around. I don't like feeling like I'm stuck in a spot and having to press a button 3 times or 2 times to move somewhere else. Because also, if you fire that little projectile, say up onto the roof of the train, if it doesn't land somewhere where it can stop, it just bounces off somewhere else. You can't teleport. You're stuck where you are, and you've got to do it again. So yeah, as I say, the graphics very average. The sound does what it needs to do. The gameplay very stealthy, very difficult, which is really good. The movement mechanics, not something I'm a big fan of. But there we are. There's my Cold Gosling 10-minute VR review of Budget Cuts 2. Pick a copy up if you like the sound of it, and if you don't. I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Thanks very much for watching. Throw us a sub if you like what I'm doing. Have a good day and take it easy.